Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. In today's video, we're going to briefly analyze the defensive issues Arsenal experienced in the second half of their 1-0 win over Leeds. So in today's video, first we'll break down the adjustments Leeds made to their pressing in the second half. Then we'll focus on Arsenal's right side and why they were struggling in that zone. And lastly, we'll focus on Gabriel Jesus. So when we break it all down and we do look at the board, first we'll focus on Leeds' defensive base shape. They dropped off into a 4-4-2 that at times could look like a 4-2-2-2. And the goal here was to ensure that Arsenal couldn't build out of the back easily. In the opening half, Tomiyasu did play a key role by drifting in towards a central position. He created more of a 3-2-5, and that allowed Tomiyasu to receive the ball in pockets of space in that midfield zone. It freed up space for Gabriel to push forward from a left center back position, or for Xhaka to drop off deeper in towards his own half to receive the ball. Here, Leeds were looking to go 3v3 from the front, and they had Sinisterra sitting on White, but Aronson and Bamford were on either side of Thomas Partey. From here, they were ensuring that Thomas Partey couldn't receive the ball freely, and Aronson was tasked with closing him down. And from there, you ended up witnessing Aronson stepping towards Saliba and blocking off the passing lane in towards Thomas Partey, and then Bamford would close down Gabriel. There were the rare occasions where Aronson and Bamford would apply pressure to the center backs, but that would leave a free lane for the ball to be played into Tomiyasu. But now when Tomiyasu received that ball in the pocket of space, it was Harrison who was pushing forward to apply pressure immediately. From there, they could clip the ball over Harrison for Xhaka to receive the ball in a midfield zone or near the touchline. But from there, Harrison would retreat to close him down. The other alternative for Arsenal there would be to play the ball in towards Thomas Partey. But on the rare occasion that they did, Adams pushed forward to apply pressure. That leaves Roca to deal with Odegaard, but there were times where Gabriel Jesus dropped off deeper in towards that midfield zone, and Marc Roca looked to push forward to apply pressure so that Gabriel Jesus couldn't receive the ball freely in that midfield zone. Ideally, in this situation, if Tomiyasu was hugging the touchline and not dropping off into that midfield zone, then what you end up seeing is that Aronson would push forward to Saliba and block off the passing lane into Thomas Partey. Sinisterra would step towards White. Bamford would be prepared to push forward to close down Gabriel. And then from there, Harrison could drop in towards the midfield zone, deal with Xhaka. Adams could deal with Gabriel Jesus if he drops off deeper. And then Roca could push forward to close down Odegaard. In many ways, this ensured that Arsenal's backline couldn't build from the back and that they couldn't get Thomas Partey on the ball. And there were even times where you ended up seeing Bamford dropping off into that midfield zone to close down Tomiyasu if Aronson was pushing towards Saliba. And if Harrison had to push out towards the touchline and you ended up seeing Aronson nor Bamford being able to close down Thomas Partey, then Sinisterra would shift laterally to close down the deep-lying midfielder. So as you can see from there, tweaking the front four positionally did create some chaos for Arsenal's backline, and they were warned of the threat towards the end of the opening half when Aronson led a press with Rodrigo to dispossess Tomiyasu, and that resulted in Leeds breaking towards the penalty area and creating a chance for Harrison that he should have done better with. And as you could see in the opening stages of that second half, it was the work rate from the front six that resulted in Saliba looking to play in between Bamford and Aronson that resulted in Arsenal giving away chances and possession. In this example, it's Ramsdale sliding the ball across Aronson into the path of Thomas Partey, but focus on when Partey receives the ball. You can see Bamford shifting across to apply pressure, and it forces Partey to play a first-time pass into Saliba. That triggers Sinisterra, and what he does well is that he blocks off the passing lane into White, forcing Saliba to take a heavy touch, and now the ball falls into the path of Bamford, who should be breaking free on goal. However, while he does a good job of taking his first touch across Saliba, Ramsdale gets off his line quickly, he cuts off the angle, and from here Bamford should be taking a shot on goal, but he allows the ball to roll across his body in towards left half space. It creates a tighter angle, and Ramsdale stays big to deny the striker. And then here once again, it's Aronson blocking off the passing lane into Thomas Partey, and Saliba slides the ball across him into the path of Jesus, dropping in towards his own half, but it's Marc Roca who steps forward to apply immediate pressure, and when Jesus takes a second touch, Roca makes a challenge and he wins possession, and now the ball falls into the path of Aronson with Bamford running off Thomas Partey, and from there Aronson can now play the ball in towards Bamford to break free at the center backs to ignite a counter. From an attacking perspective, there were two issues that Arsenal encountered in that second half. One was the threat down the right-hand side behind White, and the second was the threat of midfield runners in towards the final third. In the opening half, some of Leeds' best chances from open play stemmed from Sinisterra running at White and underlapping runs in beyond him, creating space for Sinisterra or allowing Sinisterra to break in beyond White to get in towards the final third with attempts to create. However, what we ended up seeing from that second half was that Sinisterra was still playing from the left-hand side, but now is the positioning of Aronson moving away from Thomas Partey and drifting laterally towards that left side of the pitch and creating overloads by making runs in behind White or getting on the ball and looking to play in Sinisterra down that flank to get Leeds into attacking positions. In this example, you witness Struijk on Marsch sliding the ball across White for Aronson making a run in towards the left channel, and when he receives the ball, you can see that Saliba does a very good job of shifting across to provide cover, but as Aronson carries the ball in towards the penalty area, Bamford's making a run to pull away Gabriel, and that creates a gap for Aronson to play the ball across Thomas Partey into the path of Sinisterra, breaking free in towards the penalty area, and from this position, he should be testing the goalkeeper. And then following Leeds winning possession in the midfield zone, you could see that Aronson's looking to receive the ball beyond Thomas Partey to break down that left side. From here, you see the 2v1 as he drags away White and Sinisterra looks to push forward, and as he attracts White towards the ball, he's able to cut across him, and from there he locates Sinisterra making a run down the left channel. He plays the ball across White, and now you could end up seeing Struijk making an underlapping run and Sinisterra now breaking forward to push the Leeds attack. Whereas when you focus on the midfield runs from deep, you could see that in the build-up to the penalty that they ended up missing, it was Marc Roca making a run from a deep midfield position off Odegaard in towards the final third that forced Saliba to track his movement and ultimately resulted in the penalty conceded. Bamford also deserves some credit for playing off the last line and looking to make runs in behind. But when you look at the other key chances that Leeds created in that second half, it stemmed from Bamford looking to make runs off the last line or midfield runners from deep getting themselves into attacking positions in the final third. And then lastly, we'll briefly focus on the issue that Arsenal encountered up front. Gabriel Jesus has done a very good job with his all-round play throughout the season, but here when he was looking to receive the ball in his own half or around the halfway line to help Arsenal break forward, he struggled to win individual duels against the center backs and often lost possession, and that played a key role in Leeds retaining the ball in their own half, pushing Arsenal back towards their box, and it limited Arsenal's ability to break forward in transition on the counter. So as you can see, Arsenal's second half issues stemmed from an improved energetic Leeds press combined with their inability to cope with runners into the final third, overloads around Ben White, and Gabriel Jesus failing to win his individual battles against the center backs.